the infant in the private wing isn't crying anymore. That should worry you. In pediatrics, silence from a 6-month-old means one thing: they've stopped fighting. The baby's father owns half the city casinos, construction, politicians. He's surrounded by the best specialists money can buy. Yet his son is dying, and nobody can tell him why. The chart shows steady weight loss, 2.3 pounds in 3 weeks. The doctors call it failure to thrive. Medical speak for we don't know. But here's what they're missing. Babies don't just fade. There's always a cause, always a pattern. And the person who'll spot it isn't the pediatrician with the Italian suits. It's the night shift nurse who grew up watching her diabetic brother nearly die. Because she knows something about the human body that expensive degrees don't teach. Sometimes the deadliest problems hide in the simplest places. Tell us in the comments which city you are watching from and let us begin this story. If stories like this touch your heart, hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear this and subscribe so you never miss what comes next. The baby's skin is the color of old newspaper. Maria notices it the moment she takes over the 7 p.m. shift. Not yellow, that would be jaundice, easy to diagnose. This is gray, the gray of a body slowly shutting down. How long has he been this color? She asks the day nurse. Since admission. 5 days now. 5 days. Maria's jaw tightens. That's 4 days too long for any baby to look like death without someone figuring out why. But this isn't any baby. This is Luca Costello's son. The Luca Costello's son. The Luca Costello, which means the room has already seen 6 specialists. 2 from New York, 1 flown in from Switzerland. All of them missed it. Here's what most people don't understand about pediatric medicine. Babies can't tell you where it hurts. They can't describe symptoms. Every diagnosis is detective work reading signs that don't speak, and when money floods the room, when powerful fathers demand answers now, doctors stop thinking clearly. They order expensive tests instead of asking simple questions. Maria picks up the chart. Baby boy Costello, 6 months old, admitted for failure to thrive, started losing weight at 4 months. First it was gradual. Now it's accelerating. The feeding logs show he's drinking formula. But his weight drops daily, like pouring water into a cracked cup. The room is silent except for monitors. Too silent. Maria leans over the crib. The baby's eyes are open but unfocused. His breathing is shallow. His tiny fist clutches nothing. "Hey there, Piccolo," she whispers. No response, not even a blink. That's when she notices his diaper. It should be heavy. Babies this age urinate constantly. But when she checks, it's nearly dry. She presses gently on his fontanelle, the soft spot on his skull. It's sunken, like a crater. Dehydration. Severe. But why? The feeding logs show adequate intake. Unless the door opens. A man fills the frame. Expensive suit. Cold eyes. Luca Costello doesn't introduce himself. He doesn't need to. "Is my son dying?" Maria looks him in the eye. "Not on my watch." Maria grew up in a cramped apartment where medical problems meant improvising. No insurance. No family doctor. Just her mother's nursing textbooks and desperate prayers. When her younger brother Marco developed type 1 diabetes at age 7, they couldn't afford the endocrinologist. Maria was 14. She learned to calculate insulin doses, recognize ketoacidosis, spot the microscopic signs that Marco's blood sugar was crashing. She learned that sometimes the person with the least training sees the most clearly, because they can't hide behind jargon. They have to actually look. Here's what wealthy families don't understand. Money can blind you. When you have unlimited resources, you assume the answer must be complex. Rare disease, genetic disorder, something requiring specialists and experimental treatments. You miss the obvious. Maria checks the baby's temperature. 97.1 degrees. Too low. His heart rate is elevated, compensating. His lips are cracked. Every sign points to fluid loss. But the feeding logs show he's drinking 8 ounces every 4 hours. The math doesn't work. Unless the logs are wrong. She watches Luca hovering over the crib. His hands are shaking, barely noticeable, but there. This terrifies him. Men like him control everything. People, money, outcomes. But you can't threaten biology. Can't negotiate with a failing body. Tell me about his mother, Maria says. Luca's face hardens. She's not in the picture. Who feeds him? Nannies. 3 of them, rotating shifts. Always the same formula? The most expensive brand. European. Organic. Maria nods slowly. Rich people love European things. And it's mixed fresh each time? Of course. But there's hesitation in his voice. The hesitation of a man who delegates everything, who hasn't actually watched the process. The timer on her phone buzzes. Time for the next feeding. I'd like to observe tonight's feeding myself. Luca studies her. The doctor said. The doctors don't work nights, Maria interrupts. I do. And I notice things. The nanny arrives at 8 p.m. Her name is Svetlana Blonde, early 40s, Eastern European accent. She moves with the efficiency of someone who's done this 1,000 times. Too efficient, maybe. Like a factory worker on an assembly line. Maria watches from the corner. This is the part of nursing school they don't emphasize enough. Observation. Not just of the patient. Of everyone around them. Svetlana prepares the bottle in the small kitchenette attached to the private room. Maria has worked in hospitals for 8 years. She's seen luxury wings before, marble counters, leather chairs, amenities that cost more than her car. But this room is different. This room has the suffocating atmosphere of a bunker. Security cameras in every corner. A bodyguard outside the door. Fear disguised as protection. Here's something they don't teach in medical school. Environments shape behavior. When people feel watched, scrutinized, judged, they perform instead of thinking. Svetlana is performing now. Every movement precise, rehearsed. She scoops formula powder into the bottle, adds water from the filtered dispenser, shakes it vigorously. The whole process takes 90 seconds. Too fast. Maria steps closer. May I see the formula container? Svetlana's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Of course. The canister is imported. Organic. Expensive enough to feed a family for a month. Maria reads the instructions on the back. 1 scoop per 2 ounces of water. The bottle Svetlana just prepared holds 8 ounces. 4 scoops. How many scoops did you use? Maria asks casually. 4, like always. Maria picks up the scoop from the counter. It's smaller than standard a European measurement. She does the quick math. This scoop is 30 milliliters, not the standard 50. 4 scoops would be enough, Svetlana interrupts. The baby drinks it fine. But Maria's already seeing it. The dehydration, the weight loss, the gray skin. You've been under-concentrating his formula. He's drinking volume but getting almost no calories. And the thin formula passes through him too fast. He can't absorb nutrients or hold water. Svetlana's face goes blank. I follow the instructions. These instructions. Maria points to the English label someone printed and taped over the original European text. These aren't the manufacturer's directions. Someone translated them wrong, or simplified them. And you've been starving this baby for 2 months. The room temperature drops. Luca Costello doesn't raise his voiceman with real power. Never do. But when he turns to Svetlana, the air feels combustible. Explain. Svetlana's accent thickens. I do what the label says. I do everything correct. Maria's been in enough hospital rooms to read people. Here's the red flag everyone misses. Defensive posture. Crossed arms. Step backward. Svetlana isn't confused. She's cornered. Who made that label? Maria asks. The printed instructions in English? Mrs. Chen, the head nanny. She print everything. Make it easy for all of us. Where is Mrs. Chen now? Luca checks his phone. Hong Kong. She took a sudden vacation 3 days ago. His voice is granite. Right after we admitted him. Watch this moment closely. You'll see why. Svetlana's eyes flick to the door. Not the way out toward the security camera, like she's checking if someone's watching, like she's calculating whether to run. Maria's seen this before. Different context, same mechanics. When Marco's blood sugar crashed in middle school, the gym teacher insisted he'd checked on him. Except Marco was alone in the locker room for 40 minutes. People lie when they're afraid of consequences, but their bodies always tell the truth first. You knew the formula was wrong, Maria says quietly. Didn't you? No, I swear. Then why didn't you question it when the baby stopped gaining weight? Why didn't you tell the doctors about the label? Silence. The kind that confirms everything. Luka's phone rings. He answers without looking away from Svetlana. Yes, I see. Both of them? Understood. He ends the call. Mrs. Chen just bought a house in Macau. Cash. $2 million. Her daughter, Svetlana's daughter, received a university scholarship. Full ride. Anonymous donor. The pieces snap into place. Maria feels it in her chest. The sickening recognition of calculated cruelty. Someone paid them to slowly kill your son, she whispers. Here's what people miss when they're scared to question authority. The simplest explanation is usually right. But simple doesn't mean obvious. It means hidden in plain sight. Maria spends the next hour making calls, the pediatric toxicologist. The hospital administrator, hospital security. By midnight, she has what she needs, proof. The formula canister shows no signs of tampering, no poison, no contamination. Because the weapon wasn't in the formula, it was in the instructions. Whoever planned this understood pediatric nutrition. They knew that slow starvation would be diagnosed as failure to thrive, a vague term that doctors use when they can't find a specific cause. They knew wealthy parents would demand specialists, not suspect the nanny. Luka hasn't left the room. He's made 6 phone calls, each one shorter and colder than the last. Maria doesn't ask who he's calling. She doesn't want to know. How long before he recovers? Luka asks. Depends how fast we can rehydrate him and restore his nutrition. If we're aggressive IV fluids, proper formula concentration. Maybe a week before he's stable. A month before he's back to normal weight. And if you'd found it tomorrow instead of tonight? Maria meets his eyes. Another 48 hours? His organs would have started failing. Kidneys first, then liver. After that. She doesn't finish. Luka nods slowly. He understands near misses. Probably lives by them. The door opens. 2 men in suits enter, not hospital staff. They flank Svetlana. She's crying now, mascara streaking her face. Please, Mr. Costello. I have daughter. They told me just to follow label. They said baby would be fine, just lose little weight. Then they fix problem and look like heroes. Who told you? Maria asks. But Svetlana's looking at Luka, not her. Please. I didn't know. Who told you? Luka's voice could cut steel. Your brother, Svetlana whispers. Mr. Anthony Costello. The room goes silent, not the quiet of peace. The silence before an explosion. Here's a principle about human nature that's more common than you think. The people closest to you are often the most dangerous, because they know your routines, your security, your blind spots. Maria pieces it together while checking the baby's vitals. Anthony Costello, Luka's younger brother, second in the family business. He hired Mrs. Chen 2 years ago, vetted her personally, installed her as head nanny. She had access, trust, and a reason to stay quiet, money and fear in equal measure. The plan was elegant in its cruelty. No poison to trace, no sudden death to investigate, just a baby, slowly fading while the best doctors in the world scratched their heads. And if the baby died? Tragedy, heartbreak, but also opportunity. Because in families like this, power transfers through blood, and Luka's only heir was dying. This thing right here? It happens in every family with money and power. boardrooms, political dynasties, royal courts. The fight for succession starts in cribs and nurseries, hidden behind smiles and birthday cards. Svetlana is escorted out. Maria doesn't ask where they're taking her. She's a nurse, not a judge. Her job is the 6-month-old baby whose heart rate is finally stabilizing, whose IV is delivering fluids his body has been screaming for. Luca stands at the window, looking out at the city lights. "You saved my son's life." "I noticed a pattern," Maria says. "The doctors would have figured it out eventually." "No, they wouldn't." He turns to face her. "They were looking for complex answers to justify their fees. You looked for the truth." He pauses. "What do you want?" Maria blinks. "I want your son to recover." "I mean, what do you want? Money? A job? Name it?" Here's the thing about powerful men, they understand transactions. Favors. Debts. The idea that someone might help without expecting payment confuses them, makes them suspicious. "I want you to fire the other nannies," Maria says. "Hire people who actually care about children, not just the paycheck. Install a feeding protocol that gets verified by medical staff. And," she hesitates, "whatever you're planning to do to your brother, don't do it in front of your son. Kids remember violence, even when they're too young to understand it." Luca studies her for a long moment, then nods. "Agreed. The moment you find the truth is the moment you become a threat." Maria learns this at 3 a.m. when security escorts her to the hospital administrator's office. Dr. Raymond Chen sits behind an oak desk that costs more than her annual salary. He's not smiling. "Nurse Delgado, we need to discuss your conduct tonight." Maria's stomach drops. "My conduct? You overstepped your authority. Made accusations against staff without proper evidence. Created a hostile situation that I saved a child's life. You created a liability issue." Dr. Chen slides a folder across the desk. "Svetlana has been with us for 3 years. Excellent reviews, no complaints. Now she's disappeared, and her family is threatening legal action. The hospital's legal team is concerned about." "About what?" "That I noticed a baby was being deliberately starved." "About how it looks," Dr. Chen snaps. "A nurse with no specialty credentials questioning established care protocols, making accusations against staff. If this goes public, it raises questions about hospital oversight, about why our doctors didn't catch it." He leans forward. "You made everyone look bad. Do you understand that? Here's what they don't teach you about institutional medicine. Systems protect themselves first, patients second. Maria has watched it happen before. Whistleblowers silenced, problems buried, reputations prioritized over truth. So what happens now?" she asks quietly. "You'll be placed on administrative leave pending investigation. 2 weeks, paid. We'll review your actions and determine appropriate." The office door opens. No knock. Luca Costello enters with the confidence of someone who owns buildings, not just space inside them. "Dr. Chen," he says pleasantly, "I believe we have a misunderstanding." The administrator's face goes pale. "Mr. Costello, I didn't expect. My son is alive because of Nurse Delgado's competence. I'm grateful." He sits without being invited. "I assume the hospital is equally grateful. In fact, I'm sure you'll want to recognize her excellent work. A commendation, perhaps, or a promotion." "Of course, but the protocols nearly killed my son," Luca interrupts. "Your doctors missed it. Your specialists missed it. She didn't." He smiles without warmth. "I'm making a donation to the hospital. $5 million. Half goes to the pediatric wing. The other half establishes a nursing excellence fund in Nurse Delgado's name." Maria feels like the room is spinning. "Mr. Costello, that's not negotiable," he says. "You saved my son. This is what gratitude looks like." He stands. "Dr. Chen, I trust we're finished here." The administrator nods mutely. "And if you were there, you'd feel the fear too. The fear of powerful men making decisions that reshape your life without asking permission." The confrontation happens 3 days later. and Maria only knows about it because the hospital staff whispers it like folklore. Anthony Costello arrived at his brother's estate. Armed security. Lawyers, ready to claim the attempted murder charges were fabricated, that Svetlana acted alone, that he had no knowledge of any plot. Here's what most people don't survive. Unless they do this, they prepare. Luca had installed cameras in the private hospital room. He'd recorded every conversation. He'd traced every payment. He had Svetlana's signed confession, Mrs. Chen's bank records, and phone logs showing 19 calls between Anthony and Mrs. Chen in the 2 months before the baby's admission. The police weren't involved. Men like Luca don't rely on police. Anthony disappeared that night. Rumor says he's in Sicily, living in a monastery under a different name. Other rumors say he's buried in the foundation of a new construction project. Maria doesn't ask, doesn't want to confirm. But she does know this: the principle of courage, boundaries, and justice isn't always clean. Sometimes it's choosing the lesser evil. Sometimes it's choosing the lesser evil. Sometimes it's protecting the innocent by removing the threat permanently. Maria returns to the baby's room a week later. He's gaining weight now. His skin has color. His eyes focus and track movement. When she picks him up, he grabs her finger with surprising strength. "You're going to be okay, Piccolo," she whispers. "You're going to grow up strong." Luca watches from the doorway. "His name is Marco," he says. "I'm changing it. After your brother. The one you saved when you were 14. Maria's eyes burn. "How did you—" "I had you investigated. Before I made the donation." He shrugs. "I needed to know who you were. I found something interesting. Every patient you've ever cared for remembers you. Sends you cards. Calls you years later. You have 63 thank you letters in your personnel file." He pauses. "You save people. Not because you want recognition. Because you can't help it." "I'm just a nurse." "No," Luca says firmly. "You're the person who sees what others miss. And that's rarer than you know." Maria visits Marco the baby, not her brother, twice a week over the next month. Professional follow-up, she tells herself. Making sure he's thriving. But really, she needs to see proof that good can come from darkness. The baby grows. His laugh fills rooms. His new nanny, a grandmother with 30 years of pediatric nursing experience, sends Maria photos, each one a small victory. But that wasn't the last problem they faced. Because 3 weeks after Marco's discharge, Maria arrives for her night shift and finds a man waiting by the nurse's station. Expensive suit, nervous hands. He introduces himself as a lawyer for the Petrov family. "My client's daughter is in the pediatric ICU," he says. 6-year-old girl. Mysterious illness. The doctors can't figure out what's wrong. He hands her a card. "Mr. Petrov heard what you did for the Costello family. He's hoping you might take a look." Maria's supervisor appears, shaking her head. "Nurse Delgado can't just examine patients outside her assigned Mr. Cotto." "Petrov is prepared to make it worth the hospital's time," the lawyer interrupts. "And hers." Maria looks at the card, remembers the gray-skinned baby, the missed diagnosis, the truth hiding in plain sight. "What are her symptoms?" she asks. The lawyer exhales in relief. "That's the thing. She has no symptoms. She just stopped growing. The doctors call it failure to thrive," Maria finishes. Because what happened next, no one was ready for. Maria walks toward the ICU, mind already cataloging possibilities. Somewhere in this hospital, another child is fading. Another family is desperate. Another truth is waiting to be found. And maybe, just maybe, she's the person who'll notice what everyone else missed. The elevator doors close. Her shift is just beginning. If this story touched your heart, please hit the like button. Share this video with the people you love. And subscribe to our channel so you don't miss more touching stories every day. We'd truly love to know how this story made you feel. Did it bring anything in your own life back to you? Have you ever met someone like Maria? Someone who trusted their instincts and saved a life when others looked away? Or witnessed the kind of courage it takes to stand up to powerful people for what's right? Leave a comment and share what you feel from the deepest part of your heart.